Hi everybody, this is Ospreyeye from MyChartCoach.com, and in this video we're going to take a look at some of the stocks that were in play today. Okay, first up, PYDS. As you can see here, it's above 70 on RSI and hitting this level that it's hit previous resistance levels. It's above 8 or below 80 on Fasto right now. So basically down here, the big move today was the close above this red ascending resistance line, and so the close above that level is signaling more upside potential. So on a pullback, you want to see that level turn into support. Notice how it's lined up with the EMA4 at 260. It looked like this was possibly going to pull a similar pattern as before, but it looks like there's a bullish change in trend now. Notice that the previous large green volume bars were followed by a red volume bar. That happened again yesterday. A red volume bar formed after the giant green volume bar, but today a huge volume bar formed again, a huge green one, and the share price pushed higher. So this is a bullish change in trend. History did repeat yesterday, but then today there was a big surprise. It busted out higher. The share price did pull back from high of day, forming a long upper wick. You know, if the candles work back into the bands, you just want to see that ascending resistance line and EMA4 turn into support. If you look here at the weekly chart, okay, so this is a multi-year weekly chart, and as you can see, the candles are working their way back up, filling the jar back to this March 2015 resistance level, and so that's up there between 575 and 560. If this uptrend continues, if the candles turn, if PYDS can turn the 200-week moving average down here at 225 into support, that's this red line, then it could work its way back up that direction. This week's candle is busting well above the upper Bollinger Band, so you could see the candles work back into the bands. If you look back here on the previous three, so what happened was that there was this high close here in October, and then that level was hit in April, and then it was hit again in August. And so today, this week, it's breaking above this key resistance level. So what bulls want to see tomorrow is a close above these two red lines. If that happens, that would be a bullish change in trend, signaling more upside potential. If the candles pulled back below that level, it could signal more consolidation in the zone. The jar filled back to October 2016. Now it's working on 2015 levels. So the share price came up here and it hit this August, September 2015 resistance level and pulled back. So it has to break above that to head higher. If that turns into resistance, you could see some consolidation before the next push higher. Notice there's giant volume behind the move this week. Take a look at the PYDS 15-minute chart, and then this is showing here the gap. There's a gap on the chart between high of day yesterday and low of day today, and so as you can see here, after the big run up, the share price consolidated sideways. The big level to break is, first level is going to be this closing price here at 330. If it can get above that, then it's the closing price up here at 1030, so right below $4. To the downside, if the closing price here at 215 breaks, that could signal downside risk, and you could see a drop. Yeah, it makes it easier if I do the circle. So if this level breaks, then you could see a drop down to the 50 simple moving average at 288. If 288 broke, then that would set up a gap fill and a potential 100 simple moving average resistance test. If it breaks above this candle here and then gets above this candle here and breaks above $4, that'll signal that it wants to head higher. Okay, so let's take a look at ARLZ. Nice move today, closed up 33%, has RSI in the 50 to 70 bull zone. You've got Fasto now above 80. You've got a bullish crossover here on ADX. And so what happened, with the stock is it had a big run up, and then it pulled back and had a giant fib retrace, and it's currently what happened. Okay, so on this candle right here, it closed above EMA4, and that was our clue that the chart was heating up. We put out alerts. It took a few days for it to get going, but notice notice how it slowly turned EMA 400 support. It turned the gold line, which is the 100-day simple moving average, to support, and then finally it turned EMA 8 into support. And then today there was the big breakout. It broke above the 50-day simple moving average and the middle Bollinger Band. So these are the two key levels to hold now. As long as candles are staying above both those levels, a new uptrend could begin. It needs to break through the 200-day simple moving average at 199 resistance level. Notice how back here in the beginning of October, it tried to turn that level into support and pulled back. So if it fails to break above $2, it could consolidate. You know, on a pullback, you want to see this 162 to 167 level hold. You know, as long as it holds, then you know, it should push higher. If it drops back below the middle Bollinger Band and the 50-day simple moving average, that's going to signal more consolidation. There was giant volume behind the move. It is on a multi-day run. So if it does break above the 200-day simple moving average, then you have the upper Bollinger Band up here at 230 on deck, and then the big levels, this closing price here on October 2nd at 260. So that if it can get above that, then you're looking at the 300-day simple moving average. There's a MACD's pinched on the 12, 26, and 9, and there was a bullish crossover on the 8, 13, and 5. There's also a parabolic SAR bullish flip. Okay, let's take a look at EVEP. Yeah, this had a nice move today, closed up 22%, has RSI and Fasto in the overbought power zone, pinched on 80X. And so the big move here was the close above high close resistance. You've got the September 26th closing price was the key level to close above. It did close above that level today, so that is signaling more upside. It's currently hitting this June resistance zone, so it's got to break above that right around 82 to head higher. If it can break above that level, then you have the 200-day simple moving average at 103 will be the target. If it fails to break this 80-82 resistance zone, then it could pull back. You want to see this closing price on the 26th of September turn into support and EMA 4 hold. You know, if it drops below both those levels, that could signal consolidation. You could see a drop down here to test the middle Bollinger Band and the 50 and 100-day simple moving averages. Notice that there were multiple green volume bars in a row with a giant volume bar today. You know, this could be the climax spike. Many times when a candle on a multi-day run busts through the upper Bollinger Band, many times it works its way back into the bands, similar to this setup here and this candle right here. Okay, so yeah, so EVEP is, you know, has a really nice uptrend going. We'll see if it can push higher or if it's going to consolidate before breaking through 80. Okay, let's look at XTNT. Okay, so it's got RSI in the 50, RSI and Fasto are both in the bull zone, bullish crossover on 80X. And so for this stock, it made a nice close today above the 150-day simple moving averages. That's the gold and green lines. As long as it can stay above both those levels, to remain in play, that's at 72 and 73 cents. If it drops below that, that's going to signal some consolidation. So you want to see it stay above that level now for it to be a good play. And then the big level to break is going to be the September 12th closing price. If it can get above that level around 84 cents, then that would signal it wanted to break out higher. If it drops back below the 1500-day simple moving average, that'll signal it's not quite ready to go. It's got the PSAR bull flip, the recent MACD bull crosses. You know, the chart's heating up. It just needs to hold support and follow through. Okay, let's take a look at NOG. Okay, so it's you know, hitting you know, prior resistance levels on Fasto and RSI. So what happened here in the chart is it made a nice multi-day run. So congrats everyone that caught the early alert. Today it was looking like a climax spike. You can see the long upper wick on today's candle. It hit the 100-day simple moving average at 103. And the closing price on September 26th, and it failed to stay above that level, and it pulled back, forming a long upper wick. Also notice that the close today was below this red descending resistance line, so it closed in the top of this channel. Notice this is a big channel, so it needs to break above that level, the top of this red line, and this 103, 105 resistance zone in order to head higher. If it fails to break those levels, it could consolidate. If it pulls back, you want to see this 50-day simple moving average at 82 hold. So yeah, so it's got a really nice uptrend going. It just formed 6, red or 6 green volume bars in a row, and looks like it could be taking a little pause before the next push higher. If it does close above the 100-day simple moving average, it's going to signal more upside potential, and we'll be looking at a potential run up here into the 130s. You've got the 200-day simple moving average way up here at 179. Check out the recent MACD bull crosses and the PSAR bull flip. Okay, so if you look at the NOG 15-minute chart, you can see here it had the classic climax spike here intraday. It formed this inverted hammer with a long upper wick that pulled back off a high of day. And notice that this was also lined up with the 100-day simple moving average on the daily chart. And so you could see here where it's hitting this resistance, that's the same zone as hitting the 100-day simple moving average over here. And so when you see so basically this was confirming that the 100-day simple moving average was solid resistance and that it could possibly pull back. And then when you got the close below EMA4 at 130, that signaled downside risk. And then notice it ended up breaking the middle Bollinger Band, and then it dropped all the way to the lower Bollinger Band down here. Now the key level to hold is the 50 simple moving average at 90. If that breaks, then you could see it drop down to 83. To the upside, it's got to get back above this middle Bollinger Band at 99.5. If it fails to break that level, that's going to signal consolidation. Okay, let's take a look at ROKA. The stock is been trying to bounce here. It's been pulling back and then having little bounces while it's in a downtrend. Notice that this red descending resistance line, it needs to break above that level, and then it needs to get above EMA's 8, 13, and the middle Bollinger Band. Once it's above these 4 levels, that'll signal that it's possibly going to start a new uptrend, and we'll be looking at the 100-day simple moving average at 180. If you look down below, it's holding this ascending support line. It's been holding the 50-day simple moving average at 118. Notice all these candles at that level. Today bullish engulfing reversal pattern formed. We're going to see if it can follow through here. It was on light volume. If it drops below the 50-day simple moving average and that turns into resistance, that could signal downside risk. It does have a gap over here between these 2 candles, and so it could drop down to this level here to fill the gap. If you see a drop below the bottom of this candle here, that's going to signal downside risk, and the gap fill would be the target. Okay, so look at the ROKA 15-minute chart. You can see here it's trying to heat up. It had this sideways channel. It broke above the moving averages, the 50 and the 100 and the 20 simple moving averages, and then it came up here and it hit the 200 simple moving average and stalled out at 127. So if it can get above that level tomorrow, that would signal it wants to head higher, and then you have the 300 simple moving average and the high close from the 31st as the targets. If it breaks below this support zone here, that's going to signal more consolidation and downside risk. Okay, so AEMD, if you look at their chart here, it formed just super tight Bollinger Bands. Notice how it's been in the sideways channel for the entire month of October, and then the upper Bollinger Band is right here at 102 and the lower Bollinger Band's at 95. Incredibly tight Bollinger Bands. So this is signaling a move is imminent. It's either going to bust above the upper Bollinger Band or break below the lower Bollinger Band. A breakthrough resistance is going to signal upside potential, and then you could see possibly a run back up here to fill this gap. And then the top of the gap and the 50-day simple moving average up here, that would be the target. And then if it broke below the lower Bollinger Band, that's going to signal downside risk, and yeah, you would not want to be holding unless you were a bear. So yeah, so earnings came out today. We've got it didn't have much reaction in after hours trading, so we'll see if what the reaction will be tomorrow. They have been going through they did have an offering, and so that has completed, and so they were able to raise, I think, like $5 million. So maybe if the selling pressure is done, maybe they can get a run going. It would help if they release some kind of good news. I guess they did. They released good news with the earnings today. So we'll see if the market has a reaction. If you look at this 15-minute chart, you can see the key levels to break are 102. So a break above 102 signals more upside. If it drops below 95, that's going to signal downside risk. Okay, thank you very much for viewing this video. If you'd like to learn more about charts and technical analysis, check us out at mychartcoach.com and our YouTube channel at mychartcoach.com. Thank you.